Hello there, it's Brian Hicks, Blue Badge Guide at the British Museum. I just thought it would be interesting to film you a little video about the lion hunt at the British Museum. So I hope you enjoy this. It's just a bit of fun, really. Have a look and see what you think. Bye-bye. So the first image you see is the lion hunt gallery at the British Museum. These panels come from a royal palace in Nineveh. That's in modern-day Iraq, actually in the north of the country. They're made out of alabaster. They date from about 650 BCE, before the Christian era, so if you like, 650 BC. And they're about 3 inches thick. They would have been painted originally in bright colours. They're depicting this annual event called the Lion Hunt, and the king was to show himself as being the protector of his people from evil and also showing himself to be all-powerful. Soldiers, as in the image here, form a circle. They've got shields in front of them. In this case, they've got spears as well to protect themselves. And what would happen is lions are brought into this circle of soldiers with the shields in front of them. The lions are actually brought in cages. And the next image shows you a lion in a cage, and there's a boy in a cage as well. Now, the reason why the boy's in the cage is for his own personal safety. So he opens up the cage where the lion is. Out it comes. You can see its roaring teeth there. And then for his own safety, he'll jump back into his own little cage and lock himself in so he's safe. Then in comes the king. The king comes in a chariot. You can always tell an Assyrian king because they have these hats on, which look a little bit like a fez with a cone coming out the top. So there's Ashurbanipal, who's the king in this particular case. He's cheating. Of course, he's not on his own. He's got soldiers there protecting his back. So they're allowed to actually wound lions, but they must not kill them. It's the king who kills the lions. The alabaster is quite a soft stone, so you can see the detailing in the hat, in the carving there, and also on his silk robes. I don't know if you can see at the top of the bow, there's a lion's head there as well. The lions are in various states of agony. This poor old lion's vomiting out blood, and you can see the arrow protruding from his body there. And the next lion, lying on its back, he's got his little paws on his belly. But the wonderful detailing in the carving, the eyes closed, the little tongue sticking out there, and of course the arrows in his head. Some people have suggested the way the lions are depicted, the people who are carving this are being sympathetic to the lions. Now, that's not true, because the lions represent evil. And so the king actually is killing off evil, effectively. So it's not true that they're being sympathetic to the lions at all. Wonderful detailing. You can see the blood coming out from the wounds. You've got a lioness, and she's paralysed from the waist down, wailing in agony, as you can see. So that also looks terribly sad, doesn't it? But, you have to imagine this being beautifully painted. Probably, actually, these panels were going up a ramp into the royal palace at Nineveh. Here you've got a hill depicted. You can see actually the mound of the hill, and on the top of it there's a building. It's got a little chariot, so that's the king going into the circle, so it's depicted there. And the people on the right hand side are getting rather excited because they can hopefully from the hill see into the circle where the lions are actually being killed by the king. So the third person on the right is almost tapping somebody on the shoulder and saying, do have a look, you can actually see the lions being killed there. So that's quite interesting itself. The bodies of the lions will be taken off to the temple, a building perhaps like that on the top of the hill there. Libations, prayers and incantations will be said, and the king has shown himself to be the protector of his people. By the way, if any of the lions are still alive, then mastiff dogs will be sent into the circle to finish them off. He was a lion actually being lifted up and taken off actually the temple itself. The carvings, it is interesting, isn't it, that even in 650 BC, artists can make mistakes. So here you've got an image, actually, of somebody's started carving the tail and made a bit of a mistake. It's in the wrong place. So then they've moved it. Probably would have been covered in paint, so you wouldn't have been able to see that originally in its position. These were brought back in 1848 by a man called Henry Layard, quite a famous archaeologist. And in the house where he lived, down in Dorset, it became a school, Camphor School for Boys. And they had a panel like this in the tuck room, the grubber, where the kids would go at lunchtime and get sweets and chocolate and things to eat. And they had what they thought was a plaster cast of one of these panels. And they had a dartboard on it and would throw darts at it and, of course, miss and hit the panel. It was only in 1997. They thought they really should get an archaeologist to come along and have a look at the panel. So he did. And he said, oh, it's real. So it was sold at auction, ends up in a museum in Japan. It's sold for £7.7 million. So in Camphor School Boys, they now have the Assyrian Scholarship, and it comes from one of these panels. So they're very valuable and very interesting. So you got the chance, go and have a look in the British Museum itself, and you'll see the real thing. And there's lots more there. Thank you. Bye-bye.